Good morning, everyone. Now then, we've pressed the live button. Here we are.
Good morning, everyone.
Now, I know you're not all there yet. We're just going to wait one more minute, ready for the 11 o'clockers to come in.
I'm Michael, and my work is going to be behind the camera as a videographer. There is nothing I do not know about videography that you couldn't get on the back of a box of matches. So that's a recipe for everything to go wrong. Do you think that's 11
Is
o'clock?
it 11 o'clock? Let's have a look. Yes. It's
Right.
11 o'clock, so everybody welcome to, don't go
Yes,
away,
right.
don't go away, he's my support. Welcome to Maggie and Michael's kitchen. We're Fanny Craddock and Johnny, we're not really. It's just that I'm quite bossy in the kitchen.
That's certainly true.
And Michael's going to be the slave. So we hope you're really going to enjoy this little demonstration. I'm very nervous, so I hope you'll be very forgiving and we'll just make it up as we go along. We can see someone arriving on the drive, but we can't go to them. So we're about to begin our pancake demonstration. Okay.
Well, someone
oh
come
dear,
to the
someone's
door.
come to the
So
door.
Maggie will start.
This is what happens when there's anything live. So obviously this morning is going to be all about pancakes, lovely. And I'm going to start by making the savoury pancake that was in the Good Food, BBC Good Food magazine this month. The savoury brie stuffed pancakes with crispy bacon. So we're starting with that. Now, if anybody has got any questions, obviously we can't see you, but if you write any questions you might have in the comments box, Michael will do his level best to read them as we go along. He's not familiar with Facebook, so we'll see how he gets on. And if we can't answer them during the demonstration, I promise we'll get back to you later and send you a response. So here we go. We're going to start by making the batter for the savoury pancakes. Let me just turn my griddle pan on. I've borrowed Bridget's lovely electric griddle pan. It's fantastic. Now, I know not everybody will have one of these. A frying pan is fine on the stove, but for today's demonstration purposes, we're using Bridget's griddle pan. I've put this on my birthday wish list. So here we are, we're going to make the batter, and in this bowl, I've already put in self-raising flour, the baking powder, the pinch of sugar, and I'm doing half quantity, so I'm going to put 1 egg in, and then I'm going to incorporate the milk. Let me just get a cloth. So for those of you who don't have the recipe in front of you or haven't received the recipe, I'm very glad to send the recipe out afterwards. So in here I've got 150 grams of self-raising flour, half a teaspoon baking powder, a pinch of caster sugar and just 1 egg. And this should make 4 or 5 pancakes. So in we go. I love my balloon whisk, one of my favourite implements in the kitchen. Now this batter is actually going to be a very thick batter. It's not going to be a runny, loose batter like we're going to make for the sweet pancake. This is very, very thick. We're nearly there.
Maggie, we've got a lady coming in from Wood Walton.
Oh!
She says, I love your top. Where did you buy it?
Oh, bless her. Well, lady from Wood Walton, my top is an M&S one, and I've had it a few years now. I've resurrected it during the pandemic, during lockdown. Right.
There's a lot of people watching you, Maggie.
Oh gosh, oh don't, I don't think I need to know that, it'll frighten me. Darling, something's blocking the screen. Look, can you just,
Right.
with your finger, take it up. We lost something there on the screen. So here's the batter. Oh, this is actually, this is a bit runnier. Do you know what? This is a bit runnier than it normally is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sprinkle in a bit more flour. Oh, the joys of live videoing. Right. Yes, I don't know what, perhaps that was a particularly large egg. Who knows? Who knows? So a bit more flour in there. So now I've heated up this griddle pan. Perhaps that will thicken a bit in a sec. So I'm going to put a weeny splash of oil. You'll do this in your frying pans. And I'm going to just wipe that around. So although it's non-stick, and maybe Bridget will tell me later whether in fact you need to grease it at all. Oops, who knows? I'm putting in a knob of butter for flavour as much as anything, really. So let that melt away. Okay. I'm having to refer to the recipe because I've never done this before. Oh my goodness. I hope you're all praying for me that it all goes all right. Okay, so splash of oil, knob of butter in your frying pan, and now I'm going to put in a tablespoon of this thick batter. 1 tablespoon. I'm going to put a little bit more, make it a bit bigger, and you can sort of spread it around a bit like that. And on top, now then, I've got brie cheese here, slices of brie cheese, and I've got some spring onions. And because I've trialled this recipe, I've decided I would quite like some spring onions on the top. So I'm going to put a few of those on. And the brie cheese.
We've just had a very nice comment from the vicar.
Oh.
Thank you, vicar. Very kind of you.
Thank you, vicar.
More comments, please.
Now, the brie cheese has gone on, and on top of that, I'm going to put, as the recipe asks for, some cheddar. Now, the first time I made these, I didn't think they were cheesy enough, and I think it was because I cut my brie cheese slices too thin, and so I wasn't getting the cheese flavour through. I'm now adding another tablespoon on the top of that mixture. So this is a substantial pancake. It may be small. It's a bit like a drop scone, isn't it? So there we are, the topping has gone on to cover, and this is quite a forgiving pancake. If you see any holes or gaps, you can cover them over. I'm going to turn that up a bit. There's a little bit of cheese on there we don't want. So you can, while the batter's in your pan, if you think it's getting a bit misshapen or you've got bits of batter oozing out, it is quite forgiving. So you can poke them back in. So that's going to cook steadily. So we've got a spoonful of batter. Oh, you can't see it, darling.
No, it's all right.
All right. Spoonful of batter for your base, spring onions, brie cheese, and some grated cheddar cheese, and then another spoonful of batter on the top. So we're just letting that cook. I'm going to get my bigger fish slice. I hope you can all see adequately. So that's cooking away. You could use any sort of cheese. You can vary your fillings. You could use a strong cheddar, you could use a Gruyere cheese, you could make Stilton cheese ones. Michael, there's a dialogue box on the top. Oh, it's just disappeared. That's all right.
Don't worry, they don't come on.
Oh, don't they?
No.
So you can't see those coming on. Right, I'm going to take a little peep underneath. Oh, yes, that's looking good.
A message from Hampton. Our grandson is watching this
Ooh.
for his home economics lesson. Brian Green. Actually, you can see all the comments. I don't need to read them out.
No, I can't
All
read
right,
them,
I'm reading them out
I'm
for
going to
Maggie.
flip this over now.
Right, well, I'll come.
Right. There we go. So, can you see it's lovely and golden? That didn't take too long, did it? What do you think? 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe? I'm just going to scoop the gubbins off there. So that will just take a minute more. These are absolutely delicious. Michael and I have trial tasted several now. In fact, I think by the time Shrove Tuesday comes, which is I believe the 16th of February, I think we'll be pancaked out. So here we are. I'm just going to, while that's just having its final minute, I'm only demonstrating one of these pancakes. Move those across. That's it. Okay. So here we are. Now you'll see, in good Delia fashion, here are some I made earlier. So, let's take a peep. I think that is going to be ready. I'm just going to whack the heat up a weeny bit, just to give it a bit more colour. But now, Michael, if you can zone in on here, where do you need it? Right, if you come overhead, darling, if you carry the tripod and then come overhead so everyone can see what's on here. So here's some pancake. That's fine, love. No, down a bit.
I can't see.
Yeah, I can though. So pancakes I made earlier. I've roasted, but you could fry some little cherry tomatoes. I slow roasted these with a drizzle of oil and some fresh herbs, and you could fry them in a pan in oil, and then drizzle with not balsamic vinegar, pomegranate molasses is lovely, or you could do balsamic vinegar. I've got some maple syrup there and some pieces of pre-grilled smoked streaky bacon. So here we are. There we are. So that's nicely cooked on both sides. So I'm going to put the final pancake on there. And so to serve it, you could serve it topped with the grilled bacon. You could, I love smoked streaky bacon. Drizzled with maple syrup, so you could do that if you've got a sweet tooth like I have. You could have on your plate some lovely sautéed tomatoes on the side or roasted tomatoes, and garnish with some nice fresh salad leaves. So that makes really quite a substantial lunch. I'm sure you'd only need one of those, but if you're greedy, and Michael and I are quite greedy, you might manage to demolish 2. So there we are. Michael, do you want to put those on the table? And that, darling, over there, look, on the table.
So go in front of the camera.
Aha! This is what happens. Now, what I'm going to do is quickly, I've turned the griddle off, I'm quickly going to wipe that clean before it goes cold. That's it. Bridget will be proud of me that I'm looking after her piece of equipment. So that is dish number one. I wonder if some of you are cooking along. Perhaps you might let us know in the comments box. Right, so moving on to our sweet pancake now. Now I've pre-made some pancakes. I made these yesterday and I've layered them up with sheets of greaseproof paper or baking parchment, layered them up. If you have a big batch of pancake batter, you can make lots of pancakes. They freeze really well, as long as you interleave them, else otherwise you'd have to defrost them en bloc. So there are some I made yesterday. We're going to make the batter. It does say to rest it for 20 minutes. So we won't have 20 minutes in which to rest it. But anyway, in here, I've got, now this time it's plain flour, not self-raising flour. Michael, if you can turn that platter round, so at the end, we can turn the camera onto the two finished dishes. Yeah, so we've got plain flour, some light brown soft sugar in here, 1 large egg, and 150 mils of milk. Now this one is a runny batter. There we are. Put that in the compost bin. So plain flour, brown sugar, egg, and it says whole milk, but to be honest, we've always got semi-skimmed in the house, so I'm doing this with semi-skimmed milk. So again, just whisking it, taking all my frustrations out on the batter. It doesn't matter if this one's too runny, I guess. We're actually going to cook these pancakes over on the stove in a frying pan.
Can we see what that looks like, Maggie? Can you show us?
Yeah, just a running
consistency,
normal batter. Yeah, I haven't even got all the milk in yet, so. How are you coping, Michael, being techie man?
Yes, yeah, okay.
Right, here we go. Right, now I'm going to move over to the stove, so it means Michael's got to move the camera across. Oh, actually Michael, no, hang on a sec though. I did that a little bit out of sequence. I decided to show you before we get to putting the frying pan on, the Barbados cream, which sounds absolutely gorgeous, and it is. And in it, you've got, I've used Total yogurt, and I happen to have some fat-free, and it seems to work really well with that. So the recipe says, what does it say about the yogurt? Thick Greek style yogurt, such as Total. Well, I eat Total yogurt, the fat-free one, for breakfast in the mornings with fruit and granola. So I've done it with the fat-free one, and it doesn't seem to have come to any harm. And the mascarpone cheese, this is a lovely rich cream cheese. So you've got the yogurt, the mascarpone, and the vanilla. I added an extra little bit of vanilla. And all I did was put them in a bowl and stir them well together. I'm always careful when I'm stirring mascarpone because I have found that it can thicken up too much sometimes, you know, if you're using it in a tiramisu or something. So this has got the Greek yogurt, the mascarpone, and a good dollop of vanilla. So that's all mixed and ready for when we come back to dress our pancake.
Are we going over to the stove now?
So batter done, the Barbados cream is done, and so now we're going to roast the bananas. Oh, these are delicious. So we're moving over to the stove. I'll take the batter. Now, we'll give Michael a chance to get over here. Okay. So, roasted bananas. I've preheated the oven to 230 degrees. Now that is excessively high. I don't normally cook anything on those temperatures. But Yotam Ottolenghi, the chef whose recipe this is, says 230, so 230 it is. Now in here, for the roasted bananas, I've got the butter, 30 grams of unsalted butter, 2.5 tablespoons of soft light brown sugar again. This recipe is quite heavy on soft light brown sugar. It's got 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, and then some ripe bananas.
How much heat have you got on?
I've got that. I've just been dissolving the brown sugar. Here we are.
So there's barely any heat on there.
No, it's a low. You're trying to dissolve the sugar and the butter. Now it's very top heavy on the sugar front, so you'll not get rid of all the sugar crystals, and that's fine, absolutely fine. I'm actually going to switch that off. I melted it all down earlier. It takes a minute, so I'm going to turn that off. And here we've got the bananas, and I'm just doing 2 bananas. The recipe says 4 to feed 4 people. So I'm cutting them lengthwise into quarters, like that. And then they're going to go in this lovely caramelly sauce. So here we are. I'm going to pop them in here and make sure they're all covered in this sugary, buttery, caramelly syrup, really, and give them a little toss.
I was just looking at your oven, Maggie. It's very clean. Do you always have a clean oven like that?
I had a man who cleaned my cooker as best he could the other day in preparation for this video.
I think he did a pretty good job.
I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I sometimes have one of those professional oven cleaners chappies in who comes and does a really good job. But because we're in lockdown, I couldn't employ him, and it's much cheaper employing your husband or partner.
Or Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny. Fanny's Johnny. Right, here we are. So these have all had a little coating. Now, it says to have them face up. Don't ask me why, really. I'm not sure. So here we are, and now...
Isn't that bottom up?
No, face up, face at the top. So now these are going into the oven, straight into the oven for 10 or 12 minutes. And I'm going to open the oven door periodically to baste them with the syrup. You've got to keep an eye on them, and it's lovely to baste them. You'll see the sauce will bubble up, and you don't want it to burn away or boil away, so I'll periodically look at those while they're in the oven. So we're going to...
Where are we going next?
Right, next... Oh, do be careful about pans that you're going to put into a hot oven, because of the handles, they might melt. So make sure it's a good solid frying pan with a handle that won't melt. Mine seems to be all right for this job. The handle's not melted yet, but do be careful when you take it out of the oven with oven gloves and you stand it on the side, and the times I've gone back to it, forgetting it's only just come out of the oven, gone to lift the frying pan by its handle, and it's been red hot from the oven. So do be careful. I don't want to be responsible for any of you getting nasty burns with your pan handle. Now here, we're going to cook a pancake now. It's funny, isn't it? I was thinking I would use the pan that's just gone in the oven, but that's gone in the oven, so I can't use it. So let's just tilt that up a weeny bit. That's it. So I'm going to put a knob of butter in here. Butter's lovely for flavour. I've got a tablespoon. And it says to use 3 tablespoons of batter for each pancake. So we'll see how big a pancake we get. So we're cooking these live. Now I have pre-made some pancakes, as you saw, so you don't need me to demonstrate. Let me come up here a bit. You don't need me to show you how to make a pancake. You don't need me to show you how to make 6, 10 pancakes. So I'll just do one, because you're probably all familiar anyway with how to do a pancake. And the reason why I'm not using Bridget's griddle for this is because I like to swirl pancake batter around the pan, and with the griddle you can't do that. The griddle is brilliant for thick batter. So if you're cooking blini, you know, those lovely little canapé size pancakes that you top with smoked salmon and stuff, the griddle is ideal for that. But for this, here we are, here's the batter. So it says 3 tablespoons. I mean, I'm inclined to pour it, but we'll do 3 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. And now the joy of this, doing it in the pan, you can see how it's settled. So now, as it settles a bit more, I'm going to swirl it. Now they do say, don't they, in recipes, that when you're making pancakes, you'll probably have disasters with the first 1 or 2. You probably won't be able to get them out of the pan. In fact, I can see a little gap there, so I'm going to fill that gap, because I want to be able... I'm not going to toss the pancakes. You'll be very disappointed, I'm sure. I've never had any luck in tossing pancakes, but I'm hoping I'll be able to get it turned over in one piece. So I'm going to get a big plate out, ready for it coming out. I'm just going to fetch my fish slice. And I always think, you know, when a pancake is ready to turn over or toss, is when it, oh look, it's just loosened. It's when it starts to get loose and you can shake it around. So I'm just going to give that a weeny bit longer. I don't want to do it too soon. Let's have a look. Let's have a peep underneath. I think that could do with a minute more. Let me get this other. I'm just going to have a peep at those bananas when I've turned this. Right, here we go. Ooh. Over it goes. So I'm going to turn the heat right down now for the second side. Now I'm coming to the pan with the bananas in to show you what it looks like. So, oh, look at those. They are bubbling away. And I'm going to spoon some of that toffee sauce over. I'm not sure if that's entirely necessary because the fact that they're sitting in it, you'll find that the sugar and the butter do separate out a little bit, but that's okay. And even when it gets cold, you might find they crystallise a bit, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine. So back they go for another few minutes. Don't let me forget them, everybody. Now back to the pancake. And I'm sure this is going to be done now. I'm going to slide this out onto a dinner plate. Can you see that? Ooh. It needs a little bit of a helping hand. There we are. So there's one pancake, okay? So we'll go back to the worktop and I'll show you what we're going to do next. So I hope this recipe doesn't sound too complicated for you. Believe me, it is a very easy set of instructions to follow. The next step is to mix some rum and some brown sugar and just heat that, here we are, to make a little syrup. And I tend to heat this in the microwave just for a few seconds to loosen it. So I'm just at the microwave. If you haven't got a microwave, don't worry. I'm sure you could drizzle this, the rum and brown sugar. You could just drizzle it on, or you could heat it in a little saucepan or something. Here we go. So that's just helped to dissolve the sugar a bit. And that's lovely. Now, obviously you don't have to use rum. You could use Cointreau or Grand Marnier or brandy. You don't have to have this alcoholic syrup at all if you don't want to. So I am going to retrieve the bananas now from the oven. I'll stand the pan on here. I'll just get rid of these. And we've got our mascarpone cream. We've got some flakes of salt here, mascarpone cream. We've got the sugary rum syrup, and we've got some toasted flaked almonds. So here we are. The oven can go off. There, look at those. Oh, the smell. I wish you could all smell them. You've got to like bananas to like this dish. They are a sugary, sublime, delicious dish. Have I convinced you? I must be careful of this pan handle, so I'm going to put my oven gloves over to remind me. Now, it says to sprinkle these with a little bit of salt. So if you like salted caramel, you'll like the addition of salt, just a little tiny bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to choose my best side. Let's have a look. I think I'll turn it over. We're eating this one, so it doesn't matter that I'm touching it with my fingers. So this is for one person. So you're going to lay your quarters of banana, 4 pieces, onto half the pancake. Oh, the smell is lovely. There we are. I'm going to move that away. I'll keep the handle covered. So, okay, so now I'm going to fold it in quarters. Okay, like that, like that. I'm going to pop it in a serving dish. There we go. Pop it in a serving dish. I haven't got lovely white plates that show off.
Nigella has.
Nigella has. Now I'm going to drizzle this lovely sugary rum syrup over the top. Oh, yum, yum. I'm going to sprinkle with flake toasted almonds. When I first tried this dish, interestingly, my dear friend Bridget had sent me this recipe, knowing we were going to be doing this cookery demonstration on pancakes. And lo and behold, I actually had this recipe in my brand new Ottolenghi cookery book that I had for Christmas. It's called Flavour, and Ottolenghi is all about flavour and building up layers of flavour. And so when Bridget sent this recipe, I couldn't wait to try it. So I tried it there and then. And honestly, I was in raptures. It was so delicious. This mascarpone and yogurt and vanilla cream is divine in itself. It's so velvety and smooth. So can you come down, darling, to see the... And there we have it. There is your, what's it called? Barbados cream crepe with roasted bananas and Barbados cream. So there we are. I'm going to put it over on the table. If Michael will turn the camera around. So here we have our feast of pancakes for your delectation and delight. I hope you can see them just up a bit, darling. Oh, I see, that's the fruit bowl. You don't need the fruit bowl in. So there we are. So we've got our savoury crepes filled with brie and cheddar and spring onions, with smoked streaky bacon, some maple syrup for those that love that, a side garnish of salad leaves and slow roasted tomatoes. And then this beautiful, divine, sublime dessert pancake of Barbados cream and bananas and toffee. So here we are. Here's Michael now. His camera duties are just about over. I've no idea how the time has gone. What time is it? Let me go and have a look. Are there any questions at all, Michael?
Quite enjoyed that.
So
I tell you, the next one we do, the camera work is going to be brilliant. But I've got the hang of it now. It took me about 15, 20 minutes.
So it's 11:38, so that's taken just under 40 minutes, and I hope we've been able to show you two lovely different recipes for pancakes. I think Michael and I are pancaked out, so we might not be eating pancakes on Shrove Tuesday.
Oh,
Who knows?
We will. Right, time to say goodbye?
Yes, goodbye. The next Maggie's Kitchen demo is going to be in 4 weeks' time on the...
Second Friday in March?
The 12th of March, I think that is. And then the following one in April, just after Easter, I think, is going to be Bridget. And so if any of you enjoy cooking, like Michael and I enjoy cooking and eating and anything to do with food, just turn it that way, darling. Yes, if any of you want to have a go, please let me know, or let Jackie Bullen know, so that we can pass this around and let everyone have a turn. So thanks very much.
Thank you for coming.
For joining us. Okay.
Enjoy
lots
the rest
love.
of your day. Bye.
Happy eating.